Hello, everyone. Do you have a good spring break? Yeah. So long time no see. We have a lot of holidays for Wednesdays this semester. Well, my eyes will look weird because I have a severe allergy, especially on the transition of the spring and the summer. So, yeah, I may look very weird today. So today we are going to talk about Taiwan independence and the status quo. So 20 years ago, when I was a college student like you, this is a highly controversial issue. So 2 decades ago, many people think that, if we are going to talk about or discuss about Taiwan independence, then there will be a war. That is, China will attack us. So we cannot talk about this issue at all. So today it's better. It's much better. So we know that, okay, we can talk about this. And more and more people starting to, in the international politics, we are going to maybe values that Taiwan is a sovereignty state and also with this democratic system. So more and more people recognize this. But it's not the case 2 decades ago when I was a college student, okay? So first of all, I want to recommend some of the very good resources for you. That is from SOAS. SOAS is a research center of Taiwan studies at London University. So they established a website and they collect a lot of books and podcasts for you. A lot of. So you can click in this website and there are a lot of Taiwan-related podcasts and also books. A lot of books for you. So you can maybe just collect some of them and listen to some of them. It's all free. So it's very good to live in the era of the internet era, digital era. So you can easily find something very useful for you. So SOAS, Taiwan Policy Center. Okay. I also want to remind you that if you are going to do some policy report or papers, do not use podcast YouTuber as your source. Okay. If you are going to do something very serious, to do a paper, especially a dissertation or thesis, do not use internet source as your main resource. Okay. 就是当你们在写报告的时候，千万不要使用网络上的 podcast 或 YouTube 当做你们的主要的资料来源。Okay, so if you are going to do some paper, then you should use the other papers, scholarly papers, or international relations magazines as your main resource. So do not use like Wikipedia, YouTuber, or other internet sources as your main source if you are doing something serious. Okay, but these are very good resources for you to learn, to study. Okay, however, sometimes there are some problematic YouTubers. Like recently, there is a YouTuber called Lao Gao. Well, it's basically nonsense at all. There's too many mistakes there. Okay, just like a lot of TV shows like Baojie or some TV shows in Taiwan. They are highly popular, but they are entertainment, not for your acquisition of the knowledge. Okay, so you must remind yourself. 就是 YouTuber 啊，还有很多这个电视节目，它其实你要去查核它的知识到底对不对。有的时候 YouTuber 它只是一个知识性，它不是一个知识性，它只是一个娱乐性的。Okay. But these YouTubers, these channels or these books are collected by academic institutions. So most of them are reliable. Okay, so I highly recommend you to subscribe to most of them. So there's another additional reading or maybe watching recently. That's from Hong Sihan. He's the editor of 蔚城出版社. Okay, 蔚城出版社 is a very famous publisher for the social science. Okay, so Mr. Hong Si-han had a note on a recent debate on Taiwan versus Ukraine. So there's Elbridge Colby. He is formerly the Deputy Secretary of Defense in the US. And this is Dr. Timothy Snyder. He wrote a lot of books about East European countries and also the dictators in Russia. So basically, it's a very good debate. So both sides are highly persuasive. Okay, so I highly recommend you to watch this or to read the abstract from Hong Si-han. Okay, it's in Mandarin, and I think it's very easy to listen to them. Okay, both sides make very persuasive arguments. 就是他们在讨论说，到底美国需不需要在台湾跟乌克兰之间2选1 ？OK， 那Kobe 就认为说应该要，因为资源有限，应该要是优先把资源给台湾。那 Snyder 就说不行，我们必须要先防御俄罗斯，因为如果乌克兰输了，那这样的话整个美国的防线就会崩掉。所以其实两边都还蛮有道理的。所以这是一个非常好的这个 debate. Okay, so maybe we will have some discussion later in the week of the maybe the Indo-Pacific strategy later in May. Okay, so I highly recommend you to watch this. So some logistic issues of this course. So firstly, there's a midterm exam next week. We'll have one hour for the exam. And please bring your own device, either a tablet, a computer, or a cell phone. So it will be online. So I will give you a QR code and a URL, so you can, use the QR code or just type in the URL. Okay, and you only can submit once. Okay, so make sure that you answer all of them, and do not change your question after you submit. Okay, you only can submit once. So, but if you encounter any problem of submission, then just tell TA immediately. Okay, and also we require a paper sign-in. So you have to come here and then to do a paper sign-in and use your device, a mobile device, to answer all of the questions. So all the questions will be multiple choice and also true and false. 就是只有2种类型，一个是选择题，一个是是非题。然后大概会有25题或33题，就这2种可能。然后呢，请大家带你自己的电脑或手机或平板，然后要纸本的签名。Any questions about the midterm? And please remember to submit your own questions by this Saturday. Okay, each group, please submit, is it 15? 15 questions. So, okay, I will select some of the questions from your questions. Okay? Yeah. Well, it's exciting because you can know your scores right after you submit. Okay, so it's a, exciting exam. Okay. Any questions? So multiple choice means that it can be one answer or multiple answer. OK， 就是选择题是 multiple choice 的意思，就是说它可能是单选，有可能是多选。然后还有是非题，那是非题就是 true and false， 对或错。OK。So only one submission. You can only submit once. OK. Any questions? OK. So another logistic issue is that the group presentation, because we have 6 more. So maybe starting from May, we will have 2 groups each week. Okay. So I'm arranging some activities in late May. So it's highly likely that we will maybe move our class to another place and maybe have a party there. But well, besides the party, maybe we'll have discussed about some books. I'm considering to maybe cancel the final exam because I don't like the multiple choice questions. Maybe we'll do something alternative, but I'm still thinking about it, okay? So maybe, for example, a group presentation for 5-10 minutes, something like that. Highly likely, okay? So we will maybe discuss it later. Okay, so what is status quo? So this may be the most direct expression of the status quo by the US. Okay, so it's in the very end of the very late period of Obama, President Obama, he left office in January 2017. So yeah, it's after the election. It's in the end of the year press conference in White House. So he said that, okay, under a decade-old policy, China views Taiwan as part of China, but recognizes that it has to approach Taiwan as an entity that has its own ways of doing things. Okay? While Taiwan had agreed that with some autonomy, it would not declare independence. The status quo, although not completely satisfactory to any of the parties involved, has kept peace and allowed the Taiwanese to be a pretty successful economy and a people who have a high degree of self-determination. That's how President Obama described status quo. So, several questions here. China views Taiwan as part of China, but recognizes that it has to approach Taiwan as an entity that has its own ways of doing things. Does China recognize Taiwan as a different entity? I don't think so. Okay, I don't think that China recognizes Taiwan as a different entity. Okay, that's first. And second, he says that Taiwan had agreed that, okay, we have not declared independence, but it's not, Taiwanese can be, have a high degree of self-determination. Do Taiwanese people agree anything? My answer is no. Okay, we do not agree anything on that. However, status quo is something vague for everyone. I mean, everyone, literally everyone. Okay, we do not officially define what is status quo. Everyone says that we are going to maintain the status quo, but nobody actually defines what is status quo. Everyone has its own goals or the future goals of changing this. Okay? So another thing that I do not agree is that the status quo, although not completely satisfactory to any of the parties involved, who is most satisfactory on the status quo? 谁最喜欢这个 status quo? Of course, the US, right? The US has everything satisfactory. I mean, the US can maintain its relationship with China and with Taiwan. So the US is highly satisfactory on this status quo, right? I mean, Taiwan is not declaring independence. China is not involved invading Taiwan. And the US maintains its good relationship with China and with Taiwan. So US is quite satisfactory on this status quo, right? Okay. 在这个 status quo， 在这个现状里面，最满足的人是谁？就是美国啊。OK， 美国超级开心。OK， it is. We also mentioned that in the week of the America, that the ultimate goal of the U.S. on cross-strait relations, or the whole Pacific, is status quo. They do not want anyone to change status quo unilaterally. OK， 美国一直不断讲说，他们的国家利益就是没有任何单方面改变现状，没有任何人可以单方面改变现状。That is, the current status is most satisfactory to the U.S. OK, the U.S. defines the status quo. That is, no one can change it. That is the U.S. definition. So the current status is defined by the U.S. OK, so China and Taiwan both not agree on the status quo. However, it is It's a balance there. No one can change it by its own right now. So it's a temporarily balance or temporarily equilibrium in the cross-strait relations. Okay, status quo for me is a temporary equilibrium status. Equilibrium 就是中文的话就是那个均衡 ，equilibrium yes 很难念哈，就是那个纳许均衡那个均衡，在赛局理论那个均衡。Okay, it's a temporary equilibrium or balance status currently. So both Taiwan and China are not satisfactory in this status. However, we cannot change it. Okay, China cannot change it. China cannot use force by now. Taiwan cannot declare all independence by now. But it's a temporary status. Okay, so U.S. is quite happy on that. Okay. So for the U.S., status quo is defined as no unilateral change, and they emphasize nothing changed no matter what they did. Every time when U.S. did something, they will say that, okay, nothing changed. Everything is the same. Okay, we mentioned that just as 念经. Okay, so they will always emphasize China policy, one China policy is unchanged. Okay, so they maintain a high level of flexibility for the U.S. Okay, for the U.S. So they are more satisfied actor. Okay. For China, well, they are not satisfactory to the status quo because they want to unify Taiwan. So everybody knows that. It's not a陰謀, it's a 陽謀 because they explicitly say that they want to unify Taiwan. Okay, explicitly, even written in their constitution. Okay, in their constitution, they say that they will unify Taiwan. So, yeah, so they are pushing for unification, and they officially have this plan. The one country, two system Taiwan plan for Taiwan, starting from 2019. Okay, from 2019, January 2nd, remember this date, that Xi Jinping proposed the one country, two system Taiwan plan. He officially changed the definition of 1992 consensus in January 2nd, 2019. Okay? And then in the party congress, the 20th party congress, they proposed this 解决台湾问题的总体方略 was very long. So it's the general plan of solving Taiwan problem. Okay, a general plan of solving Taiwan problem. That is basically they are still evolving, but basically in this plan they are pushing for so-called consultation and negotiation with Taiwan. So you see, they invite a lot of opposition parties, politicians to China, and to make consultation and also negotiation. For example, Ma Ying-jeou is there, right? And also the vice chair of KMT, Xia Liyan, has already visited China several times. And also we see a lot of the opposition parties, magistrates, mayors, or legislators visited China and to make consultation with them. 就是在这个解决台湾问题的总体方略当中，他们非常强调民主协商，跟台湾民主协商哦 ，OK。但是谁代表台湾呢？就是很多泛蓝的政客，他们去邀请像马英九、国民党副主席夏立言，或者是像台东县长劳庆林，还有很多国民党的立法委员就去中国，然后美其名是跟他协商。那所有人去了中国都会同意要统一嘛，就是不反对嘛，好 ，OK。So they invite a lot of politicians there to make consultation with them and to negotiate with them, and all of these politicians, pen blue politicians, all agreed or at least not oppose unification. Okay, so they can claim someday, I mean China can claim someday that everyone from Taiwan agreed on unification someday. Okay, so for China, what is Taiwan independence and what is acceptable for China? I mean, they can only accept this, okay? They can only accept that Taiwan be unified by China. That is the only one that they can accept. So any plan that is not Taiwan being unified is not acceptable, okay? So even if you declare that ROC, Republic of China, is independent, or ROC represents all China, that they cannot accept this, okay? Because PRC is the only China and Taiwan is part of China. That is their claim, okay? So we must understand this. Okay, so what does Taiwanese want? Okay, the Taiwanese, the point is Taiwanese. So is Ma Ying-jeou a Taiwanese? I don't know. Actually, I don't know because he claims that we all Taiwanese belong to the so-called ethnic Chinese. He thinks that we are Chinese, not Taiwanese, right? So I actually don't know his identity or how to categorize him as a Taiwanese or not. However, yeah, it is one of the category of identity in Taiwan, still like Ma Ying-jeou. So this is a very famous long-term survey by NCCU, Zhengzhi University Election Center. So it's a unification and the independence stance of Taiwanese, okay, starting from 1994. So you can see that the black one is maintain status quo, decide later. And the blue one is maintain status quo indefinitely, forever, okay? So you can see these two categories, status quo, combined as, well, 60%. Okay, 60% of people say that either maintain status quo forever or maintain status quo and decide later. The green one is maintain status quo and become independent later. So the deep blue one is declared independence right now. So they combine as about 1/4, okay. 就是这个现状维持现状，永远维持现状的占33%，然后这个是维持现状以后再决定，两个加起来占60%，然后这个绿色这个是以后再独立，维持现状以后再独立，啊这个深色这个是立刻独立 ，OK， so the red one here is unification immediately. And the dark red one here is the maintain status quo and become unification later. So it combined as about 7%. Okay. So the question is, what is status quo for people? Most of people want status quo. However, what is status quo? Okay. There's no clear definition of that. Okay. So when it comes to the measurements of Tongdu, the measurement of unification and independence, well, if you use the data from NCCU or TEDS, you will see that variable is named Tongdu, T-O-N-D-U, very interesting, Tongdu, okay, Tongdu. So there are three main measurements. The first measurement is this 6-type Tongdu, like this, 6-type. Status quo forever, status quo and decide later, status quo and becoming independent later, or immediately independent. And this immediately unification or unification later. So 6 types. Okay, this is a very famous measurement, very commonly used measurement. The second measurement is called a barometer. So you will see how much you support unification or how much you support independence. So maybe 1 is independence and 10 is unification. And you rate yourself and you can rate the party. Okay? 就是有3种最主要的测量统独意识的方式。第一种就是6分类，就是这种。那第二种就是1到10，你觉得你是最支持独立就1，最支持统一就10。那你就可以给自己给分数，你也可以给别人给分数 ，OK。The third one is called conditional 统独，条件式统独 ，developed by Professor Wu Naide and Professor Liu Mingshi. So it actually asks people 4 different questions, okay, 4 different questions. So do you support Taiwan independence if China will attack after the declaration, or China will not attack after the declaration? And do you support unification if 2 sides, China and Taiwan, is compatible on economy, society, and politics? Okay, the wording is that 请问你支持如果在两岸的经济、社会、政治各方面都差不多的情形之下，你支不支持统一？然后上面这个是说，请问你在如果中国会攻击台湾，你要支不支持台湾独立 ？Okay, so it actually asks about the outcome of independence and unification. Okay, so well, more specific, right? Because in this category, it does not specify what is later, what is decided later, and what is unification or what is independent, right? So more specified. So for the conditional 统独, we see there's a long-term survey called Taiwan National Security Survey, 台湾国家安全调查. It's conducted by Duke University and executed by NCCU. So the gray one is independent if no attack. So if China will not attack Taiwan, do you support independent? Well, more than 70% of people say yes. So the green one here is independent even if China will attack Taiwan. So you see that there's a gradual increase here, gradual increase, but a decrease here, but gradual increase. So about 38% of people, is it 38? 36% of people says that if China will not attack, if China will attack us, we still want to declare independence. So it's about 36. So you see there's a 40% gap, right? So I think that is one of the reasons China will not abandon, or China will not commit to abandon their use of force. Well, you see, if they do not threaten us, then a lot of people becoming more supportive of Taiwan independence, right? Here. Well, China will not attack us. Even if China will attack us, well, still 38%, 36%. So this is the most significant trend here. Support for unification if the two sides are compatible. So if there's no difference between economy, society, and the politics, do you support unification? You see that in early 2000, almost 60% of people support unification if the two sides become the same. But it is about 27% support unification if the two sides become the same. Okay, so there's a very significant drop here. So for the unification, if there's still different here, it's about 13%. So you can see this is the so-called red, Hong Tong Pai. That is, they want to be unified, no matter two sides, the difference of the two sides. Okay, so this is a Taiwan National Security Service, a conditional 统独. Okay. However, I am still not satisfactory on this measurement. Why? Because there's no specification on what is status quo or what is unification and independence. So for example, there are at least two types of unification. One is we unify them. Another one is we are unified by China, right? At least two types. Okay. And for the independence, there's still different types of independence. For example, a group of people saying that we should 就是我们要 establish a new constitution. Another group of people saying that we will not need a new constitution, but we can rename our country. Are they the same? I don't think they are the same, right? So I developed a new measurement that directly asks people how do they perceive the status quo. Also, how do people perceive the options of 统独? Okay, firstly, how do people define status quo? Well, I ask people, I put these items for you on the weekly questions for you once. On Taiwan's political and formal status in the international politics in the long run, which of the following sentences is closer to your understanding? Okay, first one, Taiwanese people do not have their own country. The current ROC's ruling is illegal. OK， 就是说现在这个中华民国政府是一个外来政权，然后是一个非法殖民政权。OK。Second, Republic of China, ROC is the only legitimate China, and both Taiwan and the mainland are part of it. 就是中华民国仍然就是中华民国是唯一合法的中国，然后呢，整个中国还有台湾都是中国的一部分。第三种。People's Republic of China, PRC, is the only legitimate China, and both Taiwan and the mainland are part of it. Okay? Well, basically, it's from China's one China principle. And the second one is KMT's one China principle, right? The first one, practically, ROC and PRC have become two countries since 1949. Okay? And the fifth one, Taiwan and the nearby islands are occupied by the US government or by Japan or in other status. So undefined, okay? So actually, how people define status quo is very different, okay? But status quo maintains a gray zone there for a lot of people, okay? If we do not touch on the definition of that, we can accept this framework of status quo. 就是每一个人对现状的看法非常的不一样。OK， 有人认为我们还是拥有全中国，像马英九，然后有人认为台湾中国就是一边一国，但是有人会有各种不同的看法，但是我们就会说你支不支持现状？哎，我不强调现状是什么，你就会支持这个现状，因为就是留了很多灰色地带的空间给大家。OK，so I invent this typology, so you can. See which kind of are you. So this is a Mandarin version. So this is a English version. So firstly, does Taiwan belong to Republic of China after World War II? Well, in the very first beginning of this class, we told you that in the Korean War, the U.S. deliberately changed the status of Taiwan, making it into undetermined, right? Because according to the Cairo Declaration and a lot of arrangement there, Taiwan should be returned to China. That is ROC after World War II. But after the Korean War, the US deliberately changed that. So deliberately changed it into undetermined in the following treaties between ROC and Japan and ROC and US. Do you remember that? Well, I see some questions marks in your head. So please make sure you understand this because this definitely will be in the midterm. OK， 就是在二次世界大战之后，原本根据开罗宣言，台湾这个 territory 是要归还给中国啊，那个时候的中国就是 ROC， 对不对？蒋介石的 ROC。可是，在韩战之后，美国为了要介入台海的事务，你不能够变成国内事务，所以他就故意把台湾地位变成未定论。然后这件事情是写在中华民国跟日本的合约，还有中华民国跟美国的合约里面。Do we remember that? Okay. So, do you think Taiwan belonged to ROC, China, after World War II? Yes or no? Okay. To me, it's here. Okay, I don't think it is. So is Taiwan already independent? To me, it's yes. Okay. So in the future, what is the options do you want? I choose to rename ROC to change constitution in the future. So for example, maybe we can change the name ROC Republic of China into Republic of Taiwan or something like that in the future. Okay. So I'm here. I'm here. So if you are Ma Ying-jeou, how do you choose? So does Taiwan belong to ROC after World War II? Yes. Okay, Taiwan Guangfu. Guangfu means return to China, right? Taiwan Guangfu, return to China. So do you support ultimate unification? Yes. Ma Ying-jeou said yes. Okay. Do you identify with PRC? Maybe no. So he does not recognize PRC as a country. Well, maybe yet, but no, officially no, okay? He says no, officially. So in the past, the official ideology of KMT is that we are going to get back to the mainland, regain the mainland. So ROC, unify all China. So that is we quite call authentic blue. 就是正统蓝，正统中华民国派，应该要是这个 ，OK。Authentic, traditionalist, authentic blue here. However, I argue my finding is that a lot of KMT supporters or Pan Blue supporters, they are starting to identify with PRC. They are not opposing to be unified by PRC, so they will become this. Yes. So unification as soon as possible, no matter who unify who, okay? And they will become red, 红统派. Okay, here. If you support, I mean, back to the beginning. If you think that yes, Taiwan 光复, okay, Taiwan returned to China after World War II, and then you do not support ultimate unification. You don't want to unify with China, okay? Here, so you go from here? No, from here. Do you recognize PRC as a separate country? So do you think 一边一国? Do you think that PRC is a country, we are a country? Okay, and there's a yes and no. So if you think that yes, okay, PRC is a separate country, then most of people are here. So status quo, no unification, no independence, nothing. We do nothing. Also, it's a current status quo here. And if you do not think PRC is a separate country, that is, do you notice that for KMT and for 联合报 and 中国时报, they always call China as the mainland, 大陆. So they do not call China as another country, right? So maybe it will fall into this category. They think that maybe, well, they are not willing to define we are two different countries. Because they think that if we define them as a country, then it's Taiwan independence. They are very careful not to be categorized as independent. So they become status quo, no unification, no independence. 就是有一些人他们不承认中国是另外一个国家，所以他们就一直称中国为大陆。OK， 那这样的话呢，你就是他们就是不愿意被称为一边一国就对了，他们不愿意被称为一边一国，所以在这种状况下，他们就变成是不要统一也不要独立 ，OK， 不统不独不武，其实就是这边啦，其实就是这边 ，OK， so you can see that 马英九 during his term, when he was the president or when he is running for elections, he is more like here, because in the election he cannot admit that he wants unification in the future. 在选举的时候，国民党都不敢讲自己要终极统一，不敢讲。Okay, they know that they will lose some support if they say they will pursue unification in the future. Okay, so in the elections they do not want this, but after the election, like Ma Ying-jeou, he now emphasizes unification all the time. Okay, after the election. Okay, so he's now here. But my criticism of Ma Ying-jeou is that he seldom talk about democracy or ROC as an authentic China. He seldom talks about it. He even do not want to talk that he is a president in the mainland. He cannot, because if he's a president, then he will violate, he will anger China, right? Anger PRC. So he even cannot talk about his presidency in mainland. So, well, I don't think he is now here because he no longer pursue for a reunification. OK， 就是我对马英九不是只有他，马英九们的批评是，他们其实现在也不再讲究要反共，他们也不再讲究要民主统一。好，这是我对他们最大的批评。OK。So personal identity, I think personal identity is no problem. So you can identify yourself as an ethnic Chinese, no problem for me. But if you are not anti-communist, then I think that is problematic because the Communist Party well, is threatening Taiwan, okay? And they are explicitly saying that they want to invade Taiwan. They want to annex Taiwan. But if you are not anti-communist, then I think it's problematic. 就我对他们的批评是说，他们要自认中国人，我觉得都没有问题。可是如果你不反共，你觉得中共不是威胁，你觉得中共不是我们的敌人，那就很有问题。因为中共现在就是拿了军事对飞弹啊什么就对着我们这样子。啊，如果你不反共的话，就是很有问题。Okay, so if we put this in a spectrum, I like my invention here. I like this paper. So you can have a spectrum here. So we haven't talked about this. So there's another people, deep green people, 深绿. They denies the legitimacy of ROC. Okay, they think that ROC is an illegal regime. So they think that we should have a whole new country, not related to ROC. That is what I define the deep green people. 就是深绿派的人是否定中华民国的正当性，他们认为中华民国是一个外来殖民政权，是一个非法的政权。So they are here. They do not think Taiwan is already independent because we are occupied by ROC illegally. Okay, so they want to establish a whole new one. They want to overturn the ROC. Okay, that is what I define as deep green, 深绿, my definition. Okay, my definition. So they want a new Taiwan nation. So actually, these two goals are quite similar because they all want a new constitution, but these people can accept the current status of ROC. But we want to change that. Okay? So for these people, for me, Taiwan is a, I don't know how to describe it in English, but it's a 借壳上市. Okay? Taiwan as a country that borrows the shell of ROC. We use ROC, this is an old term, but with a new concept here. Okay? So if you listen to Tsai Ing-wen's speech, especially the Double Tenth Day or the January 1st day speech, Tsai Ing-wen always stressed that, okay, during our 70 years term, our country, blah, 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 blah. So 70 years, when begins that 70 years? 1949. Okay, so for the viewpoint of DPP, their country, our country, begins in 1949, when Taiwan established a new government in Taipei. Okay? It is not, for most of people from the pen green side, this ROC is not the same with the ROC established in 1911. 现在这个中华民国跟1911年的那个中华民国是不一样的两个国家。Okay, we will talk about this later. Okay. So, 统独 options. So this is my invention. Okay. So about the formal status of our country, if we can decide our own, which option do you prefer? First, Taiwan is not a country yet. Taiwan needs to build its own country. So there's a deep green people. Second, Taiwan is an independent country already, but constitutional reform is necessary to normalize in the status of this country. 就是证明制宪，国家正常化。Three, maintaining the status quo as ROC, no need to declare independence, nor to fight back on a unified manner. That is status quo. Do nothing. Okay, do nothing. Fourth, ROC is the only legitimate China, and ROC will unify the whole China by democratic rules in the future. 民主统一 okay, 民主统一 Fifth, the two sides of the strait should be unified as soon as possible. Basically, that means China unify us. Okay, so 红统派 join other countries, like to become the 51 states of the US. That's still an option. Or we can join Japan, something like that. Okay. According to my research in 2018, so this is the numbers. So for the 红统派, the unified China, there's about 7%. Authentic blue, that is the ROC will unify the whole China, it's about 3.2. So it's a crisis for them because the authentic blue loses to the red blue unification, you see? Okay, the authentic blue is very rare right now. So a lot of people still choose the maintain the status quo, do nothing, okay? 31%, 32% of choosing the normalizing 就是国家正常化 and the deep green is about 3 or 4, okay? So we do a Suzhou University survey, 东吴大学基本调查 last year. What is the numbers? So surprisingly, 60% of people choose this. Okay, surprise to me. Okay, so it is also the main strategy of the current our Taiwanese government. Okay, and if there's a KMT government, then it will become here, somewhere here. Okay, let's take a break. 没有，今天只有一组吧？是吗？
我们之前一直记得是，我们是第4组，我们之前一直记得是今天报告。
哦，真的吗？
对，然后我们
你们已经准备好了吗？好，等一下我看哦，这样子如果来得及的话。
下周考试。
对啊，因为我是把它排在5月8号，因为如果没有，没关系啊，先准备没关系。
那所以我们今天还是之后再报。
等一下看时间，等一下看时间。然后那个我要给你那个东西。然后我接下来要申请那个。就是那个9月份的那一场，到时候还要再麻烦你一次。这包给你。
那个就不能用国科会。
就是国科会的，就是国科会它那个 additional 的那个，对，就是它 additional 的，就是一个人1年可以申请1场，希望会过了，不然，对，OK， 就感谢你，这是一个小小的一个而已。感谢。
那老师那个活动资讯在传在9月份。
对，9月初我会先填对。啊，然后那个，等一下我刚才还有什么一件事？我的那本书，你有时间弄吗？
有，弄到一半。
哦，好，没有关系。
我这阵子刚好就是期中报告的卡。
没关系，我想一下，因为我需要1个礼拜准备嘛，所以你可能，那你明天先给我好了。对啊，你弄到哪里就给我，对，这样我才有时间。那你明天，你明天会来学校吗？
会。
那你就放在我的那个，或者是去我笔正的班上，或者你放在我的那个信箱，就是那个系办信箱。
那我老师笔正是第几节？
就是10点到1点。
哦，我那时候在上课。
没有，那你就帮我信章。对，感谢。然后那个就是记笔记到什么程度就通知。
好。
感谢。 So do you have the chance to categorize yourself? I mean, take a look and maybe you can have try to see which position are you in here. So let me explain this. So I see. If you think that Taiwan is already independent, then there are also several different views on when is Taiwan become an independent country. Well, that is our next topic. So here in this chart, I have three different timing. If you think that Taiwan is independent, okay. The first one is 1949. It's practically, well, there are two countries, okay. The second one is the 1952, the San Francisco Treaty. So that basically means that Japan officially give up the sovereignty of Taiwan, the territory of Taiwan. And then we can, according to this, maybe we can occupy this territory and become a new country, okay? The third timing is democratization. So in the 1990s, when Taiwan democratized, then we have our own delegations of the congressperson, and also in 1996 we have our own president. We elect our own president. Then we, because this is a 民族自觉, so it's a self-determination. So we become an independent country. So there are different views. No matter which timing, okay, I categorize them as the same group. So basically you think that Taiwan is already independent, okay? So the next, so these two graphs is just a spectrum that I put some of the parties of Taiwan into this spectrum. So it's just for your reference because it can, some of the parties or politicians can move. So for example,柯文哲moved the most. So firstly, when he runs for the Taipei mayor, he self-declared as the deep green. Okay, he says that I'm 墨绿. Okay, 墨绿 is deep green, and later on he moved toward this direction. Right now,柯文哲party cooperated with KMT in the legislative yuan. So they are moving toward this direction, and also they are now pushing for the Fumao, the service trade pact with China. So they are moving toward this direction. Okay, so it's moving. So so the next topic is that what defines independence? Okay, so according to the international law, is Taiwan an independent country? Okay, that is not what you think. Okay, that's not what you think, but there's some criteria according to the international law. Okay, so according to this convention, Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of the States, 蒙特维多国家权利义务公约，蒙特维多国家权利义务公约。So in 1933, an independent country should have 4 elements. Okay, the first one is a permanent population. The second one is a defined territory. Okay, a territory. 3, a government. And 4, a capacity to enter into relations with other states. Okay, according to this convention, 就国际法上面已经有明文的规定，一个国家要成为一个国家，必须有4个最起码的要件，人民、领土、政府跟与他国交往的能力。OK， 4个要件。OK， so according to this, is Taiwan an independent country? I say yes, without doubt. Okay, we have all this, right? We have a population. We have a defined territory. Well, some people think that our territory is still somewhere far away from us. But we have a defined territory, at least Taipei Jinma, right? A government, working government. and the capacity to enter into relationship with other states. Of course we have, because we have diplomatic allies. We can also have unofficial ties with a lot of countries, right? Our passport is highly useful, right? Because we can have a visa free to more than 100 countries, okay? Passport or visas is a symbol of the sovereign country, okay? So we have all this, okay? We have all this. So what impedes Taiwan as an independent country? Why so many people still think that Taiwan is not independent? I mean, from the Western's view. Why? So we have to figure out some of the theoretical or factors, okay, reasons, okay. So according to some of the international law experts, okay, the most respected experts, first one is Malcolm Shaw. He says that Taiwan is a sui generis entity. That is, sui generis is a Latin phrase for a special kind, okay, special kind or of its own kind, cannot be categorized, okay. It's a special kind of entity, and is highly likely to be regarded as part of China, okay. It's according to Malcolm Shaw. Another expert, James Crawford, he writes the textbook for the international law, okay. He explains why, okay. So he says that a state can only be recognized as what it claimed to be. What does it mean? So before the 1990s, our government, the ROC government, claimed that we are China, okay. Our government claimed that we are China, so we cannot be Taiwan. Okay, Taiwan cannot be independent because you do not say so. You do not claim by yourself that Taiwan is an independent country. You claim that you represent the whole China, okay, in the 1990s, at least in the 1990s. Okay, that is the two most influential international law scholars, their argument. Is this still the case? Is this still the case? 就是我们在看到这个国际法的大师，这两个人说台湾并不是一个独立的国家，一个说它就是一个特别的实体，一个说因为一个国家只能够被承认为它所宣称代表的那个东西，可是我们并没有宣称我们代表台湾啊，所以怎么可能被承认是一个独立国家呢？对不对？这听起来还蛮合理的嘛。你自己承认你是中国啊，你就不是啊，就是台湾当然不是一个独立国家，因为你没有自己承认嘛，对不对？ So is this still the case? Is this still the case after 3 decades? 这仍然是真的吗 ？OK， 仍然成立吗 ？OK, let's look at this. So according to Professor Zhang Huangchi, so you can look up this article, the latest one. Okay. We have done so many things that claim that Taiwan is Taiwan, not part of China. Okay, we should have the criteria. We should have been seen as an independent country. The first one is democratization. So after 1992, we democratized. We select our own legislators. And after 1996, we select our own president. All of the officials, all of the presidents, all of the representatives are not from China, but from Taiwan. So all of these representatives can represent the Taiwanese people. That is first. Second, President Li Denghui in 1999 claimed that Taiwan and China are a special state-to-state relationship. Okay. Special, it means sui generis, okay, a special one. State-to-state relationship. Okay, it's very clear that they are a state, we are a state. We are two different states. We are no longer China, okay, according to Li Denghui. Okay? And then, Chen Shui-bian in 2002 says that with Taiwan and China on each side of Taiwan Strait, each side is a country. So he speaks in Taiwanese. I mean, well, let me not to say this because my Taiwanese is not very good. 台湾中国一边一国 ，OK， 一边一国 ，OK， 应该是这样吧？哦，台湾跟中国一边一国 ，each side is a country, they are a country, we are a country, OK， and for Professor Zhang Huangzi, the most important part is that in 2007, Taiwan applies to enter UN. He thinks that it is a declaration of independence. Okay, according to Professor Zhang Huangzi. Why? Because it is only a sovereignty state who can apply into UN. Only a state can do this. Because according to UN Charter, that only a state actor can apply as a member of UN. Okay? So when Taiwan applies to enter UN under the name of Taiwan, then according to international law, Professor Zhang Huangzi states that it is equals to a declaration of independence. Okay? I mean, that is a international, according to international law. However, it is law problem. But Taiwan is still considered not independent because of the political problem, not the law problem. OK， 就是法律问题跟政治问题是不一样的。OK， 我们已经具备有法律上的一切的这些资格，但是我们在政治上可能还是不会被其他人承认，因为有很多政治上的理由。OK， 但是从法律上来看，我们在经过这一串之后，其实已经可以视为是一个独立国家，在法律上。So sometimes other countries will not recognize Taiwan because of political reasons, not law reasons. Okay, and furthermore, in 2021, Tsai Ing-wen in the Double 10 Day, in the Double 10 Day speech, she says that there's a 4 commitments of Taiwan. 4个坚持. What is 4个坚持? So basically, we insist on the democratic system. We insist that PRC and ROC are not belong to each other. Okay. Again, PRC and ROC are 2 countries, not belong to each other. And we insist on the democratic systems. Okay? So, again and again, these statements, these arguments emphasize that Taiwan is not China. Taiwan is not part of China, and we are not belong to that China, and 2 entities, 2 countries are not belong to each other. So again and again, we can maybe we change this, I mean, because in the past, the KMT governments always say that we are part of China, right? But we are not now. Okay, we are not. Okay. So this is the KMT's view. So KMT's view, they always insist on the 1990 consensus and the One China principle. So you can see, according to Ma Ying-jeou and others politicians, cross-strait relations is not international relations. 两岸关系不是国际关系，不是国与国关系。Also, they say Taiwan is not a country. Recently, they say this again. Taiwan is part of China. So for them, their name of the country is Republic of China, and Taiwan is part of it. Taiwan is part of China. Okay? So the results or the downsides of this is that if there's a conflict in the cross-strait, then this claim will make the Taiwan Strait policy as internal affairs of a country. So that will impede others of helping Taiwan. 就是说，如果台湾是中国的一部分，那中国使用武力的时候，那别的国家在法律上是不能够介入的，因为你这是内战，内战国际是不能介入的。但如果是国际之间的武装冲突，国际是可以介入的，在法律上 ，OK， 在法律上来看 ，OK。So again, whether other countries want to help Taiwan is a political issue. But I'm saying, in terms of international law, okay, if you claim Taiwan is part of China, then other countries cannot legally intervene or help Taiwan. Okay? Well, it's a law issue here. Okay, I'm not talking about the political issue. So whether a country will help Taiwan, that is their political decision. They do not have to. It's not necessary that other countries help Taiwan, right? However, if there's a law issue here, they cannot. They are not allowed to intervene, or if there's a conflict. OK， 就在国际法当中，就是别的国家要不要来帮助台湾是一个政治的问题，政治上的考量，他不一定要承认台湾，也不一定要帮助台湾。可是如果你自己宣称自己是中国的一部分，那他是绝对不能来帮，因为在国际法上是不允许的。OK， so let's. Do you have any question so far? Let's turn back to the U.S. So, Mr. Biden, well, he surprised everyone several times. He's, yeah. So after the first Biden and Xi Jinping's phone call, so journalists asked that, okay, asking about some questions here. So it's officially on White House, so it's recorded here. Any progress on Taiwan? I mean, when you talk your phone call with Xi Jinping, the president says that, yes, we have made very clear that we support the Taiwan Act. This is actually Taiwan Relations Act, okay? We support the Taiwan Relations Act, and that's it. It's independent. It makes its own decisions. Who is it? Taiwan, okay? Taiwan is independent. It makes its own decisions. Okay, so it surprises all over the world that, okay, so the American president says Taiwan is independent and it makes its own decisions. Okay, but here I think it's a de facto status. I mean, the American state thinks that Taiwan is independent. That is, in Obama's term, is autonomous, right? In the very beginning. Here. Taiwan would not declare independence, but it's a high degree of self-determination. Okay, in his term, it's like this. And for President Biden, he just directly thinks, oh, he's independent, okay, with self-determination, high degree of self-determination. I mean, the meaning is the same, right? Making its own decision is high degree of self-determination. It's the same, okay? But the US just cannot officially use the term independent. So after that, they will have the press conference again. That the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence, and they always say this, always. So U.S. hear about this many times. So from different levels of officials, 就是美国一直不断去强调说，他们就是 does not support Taiwan independence. Okay, so does not support is not oppose. 不支持不等于反对。Why the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence? Because it's not necessary for them to support or not. Okay, it is Taiwan's own decision. They are not necessary to express on their ideas on this. And also, they want to maintain what we call as a strategic ambiguity on Taiwan's status. Okay, so they always say this, the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence. However, in Taiwan's media coverage, they will always say 反对, okay? But does not support is not oppose, okay? Again. Also, if you look at the China's media coverage, then they will always say 反对, but it's not 反对, okay? 不支持. 美国没有必要支持，美国也不需要支持 ，OK？ 因为这件事情其实就是台湾人自己的事情。当然了，美国会反对单方面改变现状，意思就是说，如果不是单方面的改变，所以台湾要宣称独立或是完完全全独立，最好的路径是怎么样？经过北京还是经过华盛顿呢？哦，我觉得是经过华盛顿 ，OK？ 就是这个美国要支持，美国要支持。那他们现在不支持任何一方面改变，大概是这个样子 ，OK。 So on the Taiwan Relations Act, we will have a public speech this evening. So let me make an advertisement. So if you are interested in listening to some expert on the Taiwan Relations Act, then you can go to Taiwan 公共侧翼, the Facebook page. Okay, we will have in the cafe this evening. Okay, because this year is the 55-year anniversary of the Taiwan Relations Act. Okay. So any questions so far? So let us do the group presentation first. Yeah, please. Good morning, everyone. We are Group 3, and the topic we are going to presentation today is the Belt and Road Initiative. And this is the content of our presentation today, and we will start with a brief introduction of the Belt and Road Initiative. We'll introduce the background introduction and the motivation. And I believe that most of you have learned this in Tang Ju Lao's international politics class. So we will put more emphasis on the achievements and pros and cons part. And lastly, we will connect back with this course, and we'll talk about the roles of the United States, China, and Taiwan are playing in this policy. And so our presentation will start off now, and let's welcome our first presenter.
So first we're going to talk about background introduction. The Belt and Road Initiative, which abbreviation is BNR, is proposed and led by the government of the People's Republic of China. As of 2023, a total of 152 countries have signed cooperation agreements. Besides its economic purposes, the BNR is also classified as a national strategy by PRC. The BNR consists of the Silk Road economic belt and the 21st century maritime Silk Road. Short exploration from the historical Silk Road of PRC. Next, it focuses on enhancing infrastructure along the roads, addressing overcapacity and ensuring PRC's food security. At the same time, it positions the Xinjiang Autonomous Region as a core area for Silk Road economic belt. At sea, the emphasis is on developing two main maritime routes, one connecting with the China-Pakistan economic corridor and the other passing through the Pacific region, aiming for comprehensive and multi-domain maritime cooperation. So the motivations behind the development of the BNR will go into two directions. The first one, economically, it aims to address PRC's surplus of capital and production capacity with the hope that the BNR will stimulate economic growth. And the next one, politically, the BNR not only seeks to alter the geopolitical landscape led by the United States, but also serve as a new strategy layout.
So what will the Belt and Road bring to China, and what does China want to get through this policy? The Beijing government hopes to share the high-quality production capacity with the neighboring countries along the Belt and Road, and also share the advantage of cooperation. There are 5 points that China focuses on. This one, connectivity, trade, currency circulation, policy communication, and people-to-people communication.
For a second point, China has also set up the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. China tries to provide public finance that other powerful countries so that it can break through hegemony of international rules and establish a new order in Asia. So, to simply saying that China tries to enhance its international presence and so it could be able to contend with the United States. And the Belt and Road has also affected China in different levels. So on the international level, the Belt and Road allows China to replace about 80% of the current Malacca Sea transportation capacity by land transportation system, like the open land corridor to East Asian countries is a really good example for this. And this allows that China to reduce its dependence and spread its risks on its transportation system. And on the domestic level, the Belt and Road can help China solve the problem of its excess capacity and to improve its stagnant economic growth. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the Belt and Road. The Belt and Road aims to construct a network across Asia, Europe, Africa, and some other regions, and to uncover the potential of marketing, stimulating investment, and expanding consumption to gain more demand and job opportunities. And also, meanwhile, China tries to build a community sharing politics, economy, and culture. And before we start discussing the pros and cons of the Belt and Road, there's one thing we have to be aware of. We have to focus on the benefits that have done to the globe, but not the benefits only to China itself. So, what about the pros? This policy provides development financing to middle and low-income countries. Like what I have just mentioned in the previous part, China has established the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank in 2016. It offers funds for developing countries. For example, Pakistan utilized loans for the Dhar coal-fired power plant, and it cost about $1 billion. It helped Pakistan to alleviate its severe electricity shortage. And by this case, we can see that China provides money for those developing countries to help them improve their current national dilemma. And also, the Belt and Road create a large number of job opportunities for the neighboring countries. And by transferring China's excess investment funds and labor forcing for those countries in need. And also China promotes large-scale construction projects like railway system or something, so that more job opportunities can be provided.
And so now let's talk about the con. So one significant con against this project is a mastery of investment techniques leading to increased debt in the recipient countries. For example, the People's Republic of China financed nearly 85% of the construction of the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka. And in order to repay the debt, Sri Lanka signed a 99-year lease agreement with a state-owned company. Consequently, Sri Lanka lost control over a crucial strategic position and faced financial strain due to the obligation of debt repayment. Moreover, the recipient countries are compromising their sovereignty. Studies have revealed that nations participating in the Belt and Road Initiative with a higher ratio of Chinese investment to their GDP, and also in addition of a higher ratio of debt owed to them, are notably inclined to experience fewer conflicts and adopt closer positions with the PRC. And so, consequently, this could potentially lead to a reduction in the diversity of international perspective on various issues. And so now let's talk about the role played by the three main actors addressed in this class. And so regarding the United States of America, due to the slowdown in global trade momentum in recent years, also the implementation of various protectionist policies, and the withdrawal from North American free trade agreements, and also from the Trans-Pacific Partnership agreements, the United States' once dominant position in global trade is gradually weakening. This provides the PRC to assert dominance in global trade, and the United States acknowledges that initiatives such as the Belt and Road aim to contest the established order by the United States in the Asia-Pacific region. Also, one response to this challenge is the creation of the Blue Dot Network, designed to reclaim hegemonic status and thwart the expansion of the PRC's influence. Also, concerning China, the primary objective of the PRC is to circumvent the US blockade in the Asia-Pacific region, break free from the US hegemonic control, and disentangle the renminbi from the US dollar through the Belt and Road Initiative. Also, by establishing the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank to provide substantial capital for infrastructure investments, many countries have been attracted to cooperate with China due to the financial resources of this bank and China's expertise in infrastructure development. The PRC's overreaching goal is to assume a leading role in globalization through the Belt and Road Initiative, shape a global discourse, and forge an Asian community with a shared destiny. And so now about Taiwan. In recent years, Taiwan economic growth has gradually slowed compared to its past performance. And so the economic prospects presented by the Belt and Road initiatives represent an opportunity that Taiwan cannot afford to overlook. By engaging in close cooperation and exchanges across the entire supply chain, as well as in technologies and markets, Taiwan can explore new economic and trade frontiers, opening doors to fresh opportunities. However, Taiwan grapples with tensions across the Taiwan Strait and sovereignty issues at the political level. And so economic and political matters are intricately intertwined, making it challenging for Taiwan to strike a balance between the two in this initiative. And so ultimately facing marginalization within the emerging economic and trade order would pose a significant setback for Taiwan. And so thank you for listening to us.
We originally said that there will be another presentation, but I think the time is not sufficient to do that. So maybe next, okay? Sorry for that. Let me pull out the questions for the day. 大概需要10分钟。可以请说。对啊，差不多就是这样。这个我们都还可以再讨论，就是看你们要把它调高或调低。I think most of people will see whether you do your performance on the next week. Maybe I will ask you again after next week. If you do not doing poor, then maybe you will have different consideration. Okay? 就是我现在在考虑啦，就是把题目考换成有点像是每一组报告一个 chapter 那种，就等于是要逼你们看一本书，然后那本书那就是一本历史书，你们可以用讲故事的方式，就不会太困难。那我觉得那会比较有趣一点，与其就是而不是逼你们要把所有东西都背起来，我觉得这样可能会比较有趣一点。但是大概就是每一组报告10分钟，当然是以英语学。但这是一本台美历史的书，你可以每一次就是选一个 event， 比如说台湾加入退出联合国，譬如说在那一本书里面就会有一个 chapter 是某一些 event。Okay, it will be about the historical book of US-Taiwan relations, and each group will be in charge of one chapter. If we change the format, if we change the format of the final exam, okay. So it's highly flexible. Maybe I will ask you again after you have the midterm exam. Okay. So do you have any questions so far? Well, I collected some many questions from the QA box, but I cannot get all of them. Well, hello. Let me finish this in 5 minutes. Okay, hello. Let me finish this in 5 minutes. So let's go through some of the QAs from the box. Yeah, a lot of the question I cannot cover. So if you think that your question is very important, then please do raise up in the class. Okay, I will try to answer some of them. So there's a consensus on status quo in Taiwan, but is this sustainable? So I think for Taiwanese people, yeah, it still leaves a lot of room for people to interpret what is the status quo. However, whether it is sustainable, it depends on how we react to China, right? So it's China that want to break through this status quo. So it is very clear that for the U.S. and for Taiwan, now we see China is changing the status quo. Okay, so it's officially stated by the U.S. officials, the Secretary of State. Okay, that China is changing. So how to get more breakthrough on the legal status and or more security commitment for Taiwan? Well, it's a big problem for Taiwan because we cannot get a lot of commitment or help from other countries because of the political concerns over China. Many countries do not want to anger China. Well, yeah, because of economic cooperation, right? Still, I think we should do more, especially under the US-China competition. So we see that the US trying to strengthen its alliance with Japan, Korea, the Philippines, and other countries. So maybe we can find some way to cooperate with them, maybe, okay? And for the security commitment, well, it may be very difficult for other countries to have a direct commitment to Taiwan, but we can show that we do have the self-defense determinants, so that they can be more willingness to help Taiwan. So it's very important for Taiwan. 就是说我们在现状下，就是我们很难对我们台湾地位有什么突破，或者是对台湾的这个别的国家要不要帮助我们有所突破，但是我们可以做的更多，比如说我们要去做这些军事的改革，或者是我们去展现出更多的决心，然后这样其他国家才能够更愿意帮助我们这样子。 Okay. What does US expect Taiwan to do? Well, it's very difficult to define because every country has its own agenda. Every country has its own national interest. So we cannot expect that other country will help us for no reason. So we should observe the public opinion in the US, and we should observe the dynamic of the opinion of the elites. So for example, there are a lot of debates in the Congress. So we should observe that, and we should communicate with politicians from different parties. Okay. For the TRA and its commitment, there's a new article published today, so I highly recommend you to read that. It's by two young scholars, very young, maybe just 25 years old. So they study in the US. So I highly encourage you, if you have any chance that you study in the US or you just 游学 is fine. So just go to the Washington, D.C. and to see how the think tank works there. Okay, so these two think tank scholars there in Washington, D.C., they wrote this piece. So maybe you can set up as a goal that you can write a paper like this someday. Okay, 就是说这篇文章最新的是关于 TRA， 就是 Taiwan Relations Act 的分析，是由2位非常年轻的智库研究员所写，他们就是跟你们其实差不多大而已啦，就是大概是研究所左右的阶段。那你们可以把它当成一个目标，就是说你们可以在研究所毕业的时候可以写出像这样的文章。Okay, so any questions on today's topic? Well, then good luck for the midterm. Okay. If you have any questions, just email me or TA. Okay.